G'day. Every F1 team has a team principal, someone responsible for the day-to-day running of the team, the hiring, the firing, the managing and the motivating of hundreds of people. In this video we'll delve deeper into the backgrounds of Toto, Christian, Mattia, Cyril, Andreas, Claire, Gunter, Franz, Fred and Ottmar in just a moment. An F1 team principal's role is a blend of business CEO and team coach. And in this video, I'll introduce you to the principals of the current 10 F1 teams. They range in age from 42 to 64 years. All are European, with 2 Austrians, 2 Brits and 2 French. So let's kick off with Torge Christian Wolf, principal and CEO of Mercedes-Benz. He's 48 years of age. Born in Vienna, Austria, he raced in Formula Ford in his early years. In fact, before that, I found a story that he actually sold candles to street protesters and made some money doing that, so he's always been entrepreneurial. Back to his racing, he did win the category that he was in the 1994 24 Hours Nürburgring, but he had limited success in racing, so he turned his attention to management. And in 2009, he bought a share in the Williams Formula One team. In 2013, 4 years later, he left to become an executive director at Mercedes and currently is a shareholder with a 30% stake. 10% was in Niki Lauda's hands and the remaining 60% was with Mercedes-Benz. But get this, since 2014 under Toto, Mercedes won 93 of 125 races. They'd taken 98 of 125 poles, 60 front row lockouts, and they won 2 out of every 3 races. They are impressive stats. Unlike most of the other team principals, he mostly sits inside the Mercedes garage during sessions instead of out on the pit wall. He's got a solid relationship with both of his drivers, and many say he's the key to Lewis remaining at Mercedes-Benz. He lives with his second wife, Scottish racer Susie Wolff. They have homes in England and Switzerland. He has a young son with Susie and 2 children from his first marriage. And he speaks fluent German, English, French, Italian and Polish. He is the top dog in the paddock at the moment in terms of performance. Nothing can get past Mercedes-Benz, and he is at the head of that team. Next up, Franz Tost. He's another ex-driver, principal at AlphaTauri. He competed in Formula Ford like Toto and F3. And in fact, he looked after Ralf Schumacher's career for a period. He's 64 years of age. He's the oldest team principal in the paddock. He's from Trins in Austria, and he's been at AlphaTauri for 14 years, kicking off back in 2006. He's one of the lesser known team principals, just gets things done in the background, certainly doesn't get the exposure of the big 3. He keeps a low profile in the paddock. He's genial and happy, and I'm happy to say that I often get a smile when he walks towards me, which is nice photographically. Podiums have been rare at AlphaTauri. They've been just 3. But I was there for the most recent one when Pierre Gasly managed to secure 2nd place in that exciting Brazilian GP. Now that was the happiest I've ever seen him in the paddock, after the race, reunited with his young French driver. Franz Tost from AlphaTauri. Our only female team principal is of course Claire Williams, officially deputy team principal of Williams Formula One team, but effectively she runs it day to day. For the time being anyway, after of course saying that the team would never be sold, it has been, to a US-backed private investment firm. She's 44 years of age, from Windsor in England, graduated from Newcastle University in 1999 with a degree in politics, but walked straight into the press officer role at Silverstone Racing Circuit. In 2002, she went from Silverstone to the Williams F1 team, where she was the team's communications officer. In 2010, she became head of communications for the team, and in 2011, director of marketing and comms. And when her father, Frank Williams, stepped down from the board in March 2012, she became the Williams family representative on the board. In 2013, she was appointed deputy team principal, which is, of course, her current role. She's married to Mark Harris. Got married in 2018. He proposed at home with a Haribo ring. Why not a real ring? Well, she was 8 months pregnant, so they had to wait until after their boy Nathaniel was born in October 2017 before sorting out a proper ring. And she was appointed an OBE in the 2016 birthday honours list for her services to F1. Here's another OBE recipient, Christian Horner. Well, Christian Edward Johnston Horner, aged 46, from Leamington Spa in Warwickshire, England. He was awarded his OBE in the 2013 birthday honours for services to motorsport. He has a racing past. He has competed in karts, Formula Renault, British Formula 2 and 3 and Formula 3000. But he retired from driving at 25, like Toto, to focus on team management. He bought a share in Arden, which was racing in F3000, after spending a year with the team. Now, after some years in F3000, he landed the plum role at Red Bull in 2005. Now, at the time, he was the youngest team principal in the paddock. He's a tough taskmaster, though. You need to be at the top of your game to work under him. He's a shrewd operator, well-dressed. Not great mates, though, with Cyril Abiteboul. And of course, if you've seen the Netflix Drive to Survive, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about there. He's married to a Spice Girl, Geri Halliwell. That happened back in 2015. They have 2 children, and Christian has a 7-year-old daughter from a previous relationship with Beverly Allen. He's the most prominent team principal on Instagram. He has some, I think, 730,000 followers. He's a great front man for Red Bull, and interestingly, a Coventry City football supporter. Mattia Bernardo is up next, born in November 1969. That makes him 51. He was born in Lausanne, Switzerland, and if you've never been to Lausanne, if you go, you must go and see the Olympic Museum. I went there last year. Absolutely stunning. Great time out. But I digress. Getting back to Mattia, he landed the plum role of Ferrari team principal in January 2019, on the back of Maurizio Arrifabene being axed. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's in motor vehicle engineering. Very intelligent man. He's a long-time Ferrari man. Started there in 1995. And some, 18 years later, he became the head of engineering, before becoming Chief Technical Officer 3 years later, replacing James Allison, who went on to Mercedes. I've photographed him in joyous times. Here he is with Charles after his 2nd race win in Monza. Sad times the week prior, when the F1 community honoured Antoine Hubert. And I've seen the playful side of him in Silverstone last year, tickling Charles in the paddock in this series of shots. At present, though, he's got his work cut out for him with a car that is clearly struggling for performance and a 4-time world champion leaving the team at the end of the year. But when it comes to F1, there's probably no more prestigious team principal position than Ferrari team principal. But how long will he last? Ferrari are ruthless and they expect results. We're halfway, and if you're in business and would like to sharpen up your crew's skills, head to Canity.com, the world's best online staff training platform. Hundreds of short, sharp training videos covering everything from handling angry customers to staying safe under COVID-19. Canity.com. There's a free trial. Guntersteiner, team principal at Haas. Now, I've done a complete video on Gunter, and you can find the links in the description below. But he's 55 years of age from Murano, South Tyrol in Italy. He's married to Gertrude with 1 child, Greta. In short, he's the most colourful team principal in the paddock and one of the great F1 personalities. And if you've seen the Netflix Drive to Survive series, you'll know that he swears a little bit and he wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think that's really what people love to see. He spent 15 years from 1986 in rallying. From 2001 to 2003, he was with Jaguar F1 as the managing director. In 2005, he worked for Red Bull under Christian Horner as technical operations director. And then a year later, they moved him to the US as technical director at Red Bull's NASCAR team. And he spent a couple of years there. And he's not on Instagram, although a lot of people think this is him. It's not. This is a fan account. Number 7 on my list is Ottmar Saffnow, 56 years of age, team principal of Racing Point, born in Semlak, Romania, but moved to Detroit at the age of 7. He began his career at the Ford Motor Company. He tried his hand at racing in Formula Ford in 91, gave that away in 95 after crashing while trying to qualify for an Indianapolis 500 supporting feature race. He joined Force India October 2009. No doubt his toughest time was when the team ran into financial problems in 2018. The team emerged as Racing Point, and have a look at them this year. Brighter prospects under Ottmar. I like Fred Vasseur. He's the team principal of Alfa Romeo, and in fact, he's also the MD and the CEO of the team. He wears 3 hats. He's 52 years of age from Draveia in France, married with at least 1 son, Julian, whom I photographed with him at one of the races last year. He earned a degree in aeronautical techniques and automotive engineering in 1996, and then he founded 2 racing teams, ASM and ART. Between them, they notched up 29 titles. The list of drivers who've driven under Fred's watchful eye include Romain Grosjean, Paul di Resta, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, 2 Nicos, 2 Estebans, 1 Valtteri, and most recently, Charles Leclerc. He entered F1 in 2016 as team principal of Renault, did 2 years with Sauber, 17 and 18, and of course now he's at Alfa Romeo. Fred has a dry sense of humour. Good guy, and I particularly like this funny pic I shot of him in Singapore. Now he's working alongside a great in Kimi Räikkönen. Well liked by many, no obvious friction, gets along with everybody. Our second last team principal in this series is Cyril Abiteboul. He's the youngest at 42 years of age. He's French, has an engineering background, and I mentioned earlier on his uncomfortable interactions with Christian Horner on the Netflix Drive to Survive series. If you haven't seen it, you want to watch it. In 2013, he became the team principal at Caterham, and then about halfway through 2014, he went across as MD of Renault Sport F1. Cool guy, designer stubble like so many in F1, but will need to show some results soon to keep the board happy. And finally, over at McLaren, Andreas Seidl is the team principal. The 44-year-old German took over running the team in May last year, and in just over a year, he's done a remarkable job of turning McLaren completely around. They finished 4th in the Constructors' Championship last year, but over the previous 4 years, they averaged just 7th under Eric Bouye's tenure. Andreas spent nearly a decade in F1, starting as an engineer with Williams from 2000 to 2005, then with Sauber until 2009, where he had his first win when Robert Kubica won in Canada in 2008. Another notable win for Andreas was in 2015 when, as team principal for Porsche, he celebrated a Le Mans 24-hour victory with Nico Hülkenberg behind the wheel as one of the 3 drivers. That was Nico's most recent podium finish. Now, you do see him pop up a lot in the Le Mans doco on Amazon, and I would urge you to go and watch that. A fascinating view. He's made a huge difference to the team, and with Daniel Ricciardo joining McLaren in 2021 and Lando Norris continuing to improve, he'll be expecting even greater results. Do you have a favourite team principal? I'll be honest, mine's Gunter. I love him. I think he's colourful. He says what he thinks. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's great for the sport. Yeah, some people will get upset with his language, but yeah, I love it. If you've liked the video, hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that. And of course, if you'd like notifications of future videos, the bell button is the thing to press. You can order your F1 driver photo books and canvas prints at kimillman.com. All of my images are available at prostarpics.com. And for my best images, head to Instagram at kimillman. Thank you for watching, and stay passionate. Thanks for waiting.